Now we are live from Boca. Yay! Happy Spiritual Sunday, those who had patience and those of you out there in cyberspace. A little technical difficulty. As you know me in technology, I'm in about 2010. So I tried something, now I have to get help, and my help was not available on the phone. Okay, while cyberspace is populating, yeah, let's keep that on. So I opened up the book, and of course we all understand, any of you who been here at any length of time, you know everything is coincidental. It's all random and happenstance, yes? Oh no, okay. Just making sure I'm talking to the right people. So I happened to open up Karen's book, just for those of you who will see it. And of course, what do I open up to the chapter or the section called Finding True Happiness? Anybody interested? Okay, good. So this is what Karen says. And remember, it is called God Wears Lipstick. So you may look to the time of the golden calf and wonder, what's the connection to life today? After all, that was during biblical times, and now we're in the 21st century. When we deal with spirituality, we must remember that time, space, and motion have no influence in the spiritual world. 99% of our being is spiritual. You can't define the feeling of fulfillment of happiness or happiness. Is it in a cup? Is it in a bucket? How do you measure how long or wide or tall your happiness is? All the desires we have in life, happiness, love, security, support, are completely metaphysical, which is to say that they are without physical substance. There may be physical applications to these desires, but in essence, they are totally spiritual. This is also true of cosmic law. Although we personally weren't at Mount Sinai, and we did not ourselves reject the building of the golden calf, the way the Israelite women did, from that time forward, our role in the universe did not change. According to Kabbalah, whatever else has taken place in history matters little. The spiritual role of wisdom, why we are here, you're going to love this, is to assist the male aspect in correcting itself. In that, we are to find true happiness. How does this emerge in our daily lives? From a very early age, most girls are in a rush to get married. We often feel empty as single women, as if something were missing, and yearn not just for a man, but the right man. It's as if we're saying, let's get the job done. I came here for a purpose. Where are you already? Okay. Yet, the moment we find the man and get hitched, we say, next. And off we go to the next stage of our lives. The reason women feel this urge, which men don't experience until much later in their lives, doesn't stem from some psychological, sociological, or biological ticking clock. Rather, it springs from an aspect of our soul. We were put on earth with a sense of purpose. Men do not have the same consciousness. In fact, men married in the Jewish world wear tefillin, phylacteries that are placed on their foreheads and their arms at the time of their wedding, from their wedding. A certain piece of silver rests there too, but most men don't realize this. They like the silver plaque because they perceive it as prestigious. But Kabbalah teaches that this piece of silver says, the moment I get married, I accept upon myself the desire to change and improve myself. It's not about prestige. Rather, it allows consciousness that says the man is operating as one with his wife, just as Adam with Eve. And a man will leave his father and his mother and cling to his wife, so they may become one flesh. And her role, to improve him, correct him, to give shape to his energy and assist in his correction. Okay. If you didn't understand it or you didn't like it, take Kabbalah 1, go back and review. It doesn't mean, because I can already hear, and most of you already understand, there's something called the opponent in our head, right? We planted a challenge in our head that I guarantee you, for some of us, even a tiny little bit, you say, wait a second, a woman is only here to serve a man? A woman has to kowtow to a man? A man is the, whatever they want to call it, the head of the household, the boss, this and this? No. Okay, so you have to read the rest of the book to get the gist of it. But Karen very simply saying is there's two spiritual energies. And those of you who don't know, go back to Kabbalah 1 or take Kabbalah 1. There's light and vessel. The light of the Creator, like physical light, simply shines. This light in this room, as long as we pay the bills and leave the light on, or the switch on, when will the light go off? Simple terms, never. Never. Now you and I, in essence, that represents spiritually the male aspect, the consciousness of channeling. The woman is the vessel that makes it manifest. That's why it takes male and female energy to create a child. You take the two energies, you put them together, and you bring a child. So that the female aspect of you and me, even right now, relative to this, we're receiving the light. Are you not? Are you not receiving the benefit of the light right now in this room? How? Because your eyes are open. If you close your eyes, what happens to your receptivity to the light? It stops. So too the Kabbalists teach us in the same way. We, humanity as one, collectively are just a vessel of the infinite light of the Creator. So whatever state a person's life is in right now is simply the ultimate result from however old you are now. Go back to when you were 12 or 13. Every choice you ever made was a decision how to keep your eyes spiritually or your vessel open or close it with anger, jealousy, greed, ego, fear, etc. That closes off a person to the infinite light of the Creator. So when a person has chaos, confusion, challenges, difficulty in their life, don't look to the Creator and say, God, why aren't you giving me more? Why aren't you helping me? Look at yourself and say, how am I not acting like the Creator in this moment? How am I holding on to a little fear, a little anger, a little jealousy, a little resentment, a little guilt, a little shame, a little ego, a little sense of lack or poverty, a little sense of judgment? That's how we close our eyes to the spiritual light of the Creator and the infinite blessings that exist there. That's it. So don't take it too literally. Yes, there is an aspect because obviously you come into this world and there is male and female energies, right? The chromosome, all of that stuff. There is. But on a spiritual level, we're all in the same boat. Our soul is a vessel for the light of the Creator. The Creator filled us with light, and our job is to just be that pure channel. And right after we do our affirmation, you know how coincidence works. Right after we do our affirmation, we're going to talk about exactly in today's level what we just read from Karen. So those of you here in the room, you can read it on the screen. Affirmation doesn't mean positive thinking, and it's not wishing and hoping. It's making a statement that will engrave inside our heart and soul the truth of who and what we are and what our part of our mission is. And at that same time, if you will, simultaneously erase the lies and the falsehoods that we've come to believe all of our lives. So let's say it together. Consciousness is everything. I raise my consciousness today to see the miracles and wonders of life. I commit myself to behave with greater love, compassion, and kindness towards all human beings. Okay, so let's just take a quick look and yes, we are. Okay, Cape Town. Oof, we're in Florida. We're in Hong Kong. Okay, so we can go. So today happens to be the birthday and the elevation day of Moses. Meaning the day Moses from the Bible came into this world and the day he left the world. That's what today is. So I wanted to speak about the essence of what made Moses Moses. So some of you, some of you may have heard the idea or the scriptural concept that the meek will inherit the earth. The humble will inherit the earth. Right? The first time I heard that, when they said, oh, the meek will inherit the earth, I'm thinking, what does that mean? Because most of us think, what is meek? It's weak, people who can't stand up for themselves, people who allow other people to walk all over them, people who are just cowering in the corner, don't want to be seen, known, don't do much in life, they have no self-confidence, etc. Just checking the room. So then obviously, if meek means weakness, then automatically, before you look at it Kabbalistically, well then the desired characteristic of a human being must be confidence in oneself. I'll take the action, I'll climb up the corporate ladder, I'll tell people what to do, I have to have it my way, I'm not letting anybody push me around, I'm going to show them who I am, and they better darn listen to me or else. I can see, yeah, you should see the faces in this room. Everyone's going, yeah, it sounds like that person I know, but I can't stand that. What kind of person is that? So we tend, unfortunately, to confuse meekness and humility. Meekness and humility. And as you're about to learn, Kabbalistically, they are completely spiritually opposite. But unfortunately, remember, you have that opponent in your head, the implanted spiritual program of opposition to sharing, caring, loving, kindness, generosity, humility, forgiveness. Those sorts of things. It's that voice that may be right now saying to you, this is all BS. I don't get this. What is he talking about? Right? Instead of saying, wait, maybe I can learn something and hear it in a new way. It's that voice in our head that when somebody pushes your button because of something they said or did, that voice, unfortunately, meanwhile, until you learn enough Kabbalah how to shut it down, it's that voice that says, yeah, don't like this. Don't let them push you around. Don't let them tell you what to do. They scream at you, you scream louder until they're begging for forgiveness, until they're kowtowing to you. No, that's the voice of the opponent. On the other side of our head is the voice of our soul that's saying, you know what? Everything is cause and effect. This must be coming to you for a multiple of reasons. One, maybe just have more compassion on this person. Tell me you have never, ever had an argument with somebody you love. Some people try to think, do I love them that much or no? Right? We have that. So of course you're going to argue, but at the end of the story, you're going to forgive, you're going to get along, etc. You know what I'm saying? But listen to that voice. That voice says, no, I'm right. They have to listen to my way because I see the picture. They're not seeing the picture. And so there's friction because that opponent voice. The soul is saying, no, maybe they're just having a bad day. Maybe they had stress or something happened and they're just spewing out these words and it's not really, really personal about me. So let me have compassion. Let me hug them. Let me shine a little light on them, spiritual light for my soul. That's transformation. That's what we're learning here in Kabbalah, in the Kabbalah Center. How to do that. Not take things personally, but how to, like we just said, how to emulate the Creator in a higher level. Greater love, kindness, and compassion. So if that didn't help, read the Bible. And as most of you know, because you've been around, the Kabbalist, the Zohar, teaches us that if you read the 5 books of Moses only as a literal story, my side comment real quick is you can't do it. It's impossible anyway. I can show you dozens of contradictions. But Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai in the Zohar said 2,000 years ago in its written form, somebody who takes that as just a series of stories is, let's call it a foolish ignoramus. And he said 2,000 years ago, he says, if it's just stories, he says, I have friends in this time who write better stories than what's in the Bible. So you and I have come to learn that the 5 books of Moses is written in code. And it's a code that the Zohar will unlock to its greatest depth and detail for every human being on earth, for the reason that I will constantly remind myself and you eavesdrop on me. It's supposed to be a little humorous. There's nothing that's in common to every human being on earth except the soul. Nothing else is in common to all 8 billion people on the planet except the soul. And if you believe, whichever name you may give it, but if you believe there's only one creator, and the creator created humanity as image and likeness, it's called, that means we are a piece of the creator, which means every human being on a soul level is made of the same material, and that same material has the same operating system. So it says in the Bible, Moses was the most humble man. So the first thing you should think about, if you and I wrote an autobiography right now, and we wrote, I am the most humble person on earth, and you publish that book, what are most people going to think about you? What a big egomaniac. And yet Moses could write, I am the most humble man, and it's true. It's true. And this is what I want to share with you, especially because today, like we said, is the day he came into the world, and 120 years later, the day he left the world. So the Kabbalists teach us, they actually call this the elevation day. So we have access to draw on his soul in the most powerful way of the 365 days of the year. It's as if he's right here in the room, his energy is here, and we want to draw on it. So let's start like this. So first of all, what does humble mean? And now you'll understand why Moses could write what he wrote. Humble simply means just being a pure channel of the light, a pure conduit, which means, in simple terms, a voice recorder, right? You ever worked with a voice recorder? Some of us maybe cassettes, 8-track. We're ancient of days. But anyway, you got a voice recorder today. So when you push the button record on that voice recorder, and you say to it, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, does that voice recorder really have any free will to record Z, X, P, Q, R? Or not? Does it have any free will? No. It just, because it's a pure conduit, let's call it, a pure channel, you say A, B, C, D, E, F, G, it's going to record A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Whatever you speak is what it's going to record. So the Kabbalists teach us Moses was a pure channel, if you will, almost, or today we could call it the thumb drive of the Creator. Whatever the Creator downloaded to Moses or dictated, his hand just wrote. Like that. So he didn't even think about what God was saying. His hand, like the voice recorder, doesn't think about what we're saying, it just records. So Moses was doing that. The whole 5 books of Moses just written. If you want to call it today, some of you might have heard the term automatic writing. Or it's easier today, was just downloaded to Moses, and he just downloaded into the, whatever you want to call it, the written form. That's it. And that's how he could be truly humble and right. I'm the most humble man on earth. So let's think a little about Moses, just to see how weak he really was, how meek. So, number one, he stood up for the oppressed. If you read the time in Egypt, he walked around, he saw the suffering, and then he decided he wanted to do something about it. Okay, doesn't sound weak. He confronted Pharaoh, stood in front of Pharaoh, said, Pharaoh, let my people go. You can't just enslave them like this. The leader of the known world at that time. Sound meek to you? Not at all. Constantly asked the Creator. When you read the Bible, it was always, God, what do I do? God, what do I do? God, what do I do? Or in our terms, you say, constantly asking the light, meaning open channel above and output. So he was just like a clean pipe. No blockage, no buildup, no nothing. Whatever came in this way, came out this way. So he was constantly asking for help and guidance. And therefore, he could be the conduit for what we consider the 10 greatest miracles probably in history, called the 10 plagues, that freed you and me back then from at least a lot of our obsessions, compulsions, addictions, which of course we don't have anymore, right? Nobody in this room, nobody watching has compulsions, addictions. Obsessions? Yeah, they're all smiling. Okay. And then, here's the good part, it's getting better. 40 years in the desert, this meek, humble person put up with millions of people while he's leading them from the slavery of the addictions, compulsions, and obsessions called Egypt to the promised land of freedom from all chaos, pain, and suffering. He put up for 40 years with all their complaining. Millions of people complaining about him on a daily basis. And yet he still led them. You and I, somebody snubs us once, we say, that's it, cut off. Never again. No more. 40 years he put up with it. Meek, very meek and weak, yes? Greatest leader in history. Doesn't sound very meek to me. So we have to now disconnect to whatever extent we thought humble and meekness were the same thing, and real they're very not. The opposite. So if you want to start behaving humble, at least we should start aspiring with the help of Moses to be more. So I wrote down a few things. Not focus on what others think of me, not focused on pleasing others, not trying to show that I can handle it all. Remind me about that one. Not thinking I have all the answers, not feeling less than or better than anyone else. Okay, let me give you one of my quick favorite examples. If you think of it, and don't be too smart now, just think in simple terms. An hour ago, how really important do you think your big toe or your tiny toe, the small toe on your foot, how important did you think that was an hour ago? Did you pay attention to it? Were you constantly thinking about it, wondering how healthy it is, how it's going? No, it's a tiny toe on your feet. Who cares? I got 4 others on this foot, 4 others on that foot. I got all the rest of my body, my brain, my heart, everything else. But in the moment you bang your little toe on a piece of furniture, now how important in that moment is your brain, your heart, your kidney, your liver, everything else? No, it goes out the window, and the only thing you can focus on is your little toe because it hurts like the dickens. Because you are so smart to think you could walk in the dark because you know it's your house, you know the furniture, and yet you still banged into the chair or into the bed or whatever it was. So our job is not to feel better than or less than, because there's nobody on earth that is dispensable. Nobody. If you believe, like we started a moment ago, that everybody is a piece of the one soul that the Creator created, and let's just say for our terms today, 8 billion piece jigsaw puzzle, because it's an easy metaphor. If you want to build an 8 billion piece jigsaw puzzle, right? You bought it from the store, you've been assembling for years with you and a lot of your friends, and you have 7,999,999,999 all assembled, and you can't find that one tiny piece. Do you have a complete puzzle? No. That one tiny piece out of 8 billion makes a difference. Complete or incomplete. So too, every human being, which is why you and I often talk about, and certainly if you're in any of the classes, when you're reading from the Zohar, scanning from the Zohar, meditating, praying, you're channeling light to 8 billion hearts and souls. Every spiritual Sunday when we do the meditation at the end, we do the part, we set ourselves up, get the vibes, the consciousness, etc., and then we ultimately shine light out to 8 billion people. Because if I don't connect from my point of view to 8 billion hearts and souls out there, then I'm missing 1, 2, a billion, half a billion, whatever it is, pieces of life force that I need. And for those of you who are new, it doesn't mean we're blessing people to do more terrible things. The opposite. You wake up the light of God inside them. It's the only thing that's going to help them be aware of their darkness that has been the influence with that opponent to make them do Murder, rape, robbery, terrible, screaming, yelling, fighting, all the horrendous stuff going on in the world. Only light takes away darkness. It's not a difficult concept. And it's true 100% of the time. It's just when it comes to the spiritual world that manifests in the physical world, you don't see it like in a room. Turn on the room, instantaneously, the darkness disappears. But because it's humanity and free will and thousands of years of training and history, you don't always see it instantly, but it is working. It's taking away one piece of darkness, another piece of darkness, another piece of darkness, until there are revelations, until there are overt actions of kindness, love, and compassion. So we have to keep that in mind, because it's not easy. The opponent in our head is pushing very hard these last 10, 15, 20 years to say no. And we've been doing it for thousands of years. Let me ask you this. If you remember even the simple story, the first murder, right? We'd all say murder is terrible, yes? Murder is bad. What was the first murder? Two brothers, Cain and Abel. Cain killed Abel. Now, if we've been so smart, like the Rav used to call smart in quotes, that we know how to deal with things, like we're saying today, the opposite of humility. I know what to do. Why didn't God get rid of Cain at that moment? Right? Thousands of years we didn't say, no, if somebody murders, we got to get rid of them. Get rid of them. Get rid of them. And again, I'm not endorsing it. Please don't take it in that way. I want you to understand the spiritual technology that we learn in the center. For thousands of years, we have capital punishment. Somebody killed, kill them. Kill this, kill this. Every genocidal maniac up until this generation, are they around? No, we got rid of them, or they died out. Have we seen peace in the world, harmony, joy, happiness, unity, oneness? Why not? We got rid of so many bad people, because you and I understand the soul is the soul. It's immortal. So yes, the same way you and I in our minor level have a pure light soul of the Creator, but we still have our level of anger, jealousy, greed, ego, insecurity, fear, judgment, resentment, etc. You just multiply that out. People who haven't made the effort like you and I have to change. So yeah, that's the robbery and the murder and the terrorism, all the horrendous things out there. But their soul is still a pure piece of the Creator. And like we just said, we cannot have peace on earth until we've activated the soul of every one of those 8 billion people. Cannot. And if you don't believe me, look back on 2, 3, 4, 5,000 years of history and show me where I'm wrong. Show me where we've had peace on earth because we got rid of all the bad actors. I mean, didn't we just say a few minutes ago, you had an argument with a loved one? Yes or yes? Didn't we say that a few minutes ago? And everybody said, yeah, I've had an argument with a loved one. Well, on the same concept, why didn't you leave them? That's it. Leave them that moment, never see them again. You get rid of them because in that moment to you, they were saying the wrong thing, doing the wrong thing, hurt your feelings, whatever it was. Why not just X them out of your life? Like we tried to do uselessly for thousands of years. Just kill the killers. Why didn't you do that? Really think about it. Why? Because in this case, the way we set it up, because somebody you love. You feel connection to their soul. Did their soul scream and yell at you? Did their soul say that bad thing? Did their soul say those nasty words? Or was it the spiritual mud, as we call it, that they put on themselves with the help of that nasty voice in their head, that previously in their life, multiple times, they acted with a little jealousy, fear, ego, greed, shame, and they threw mud on themselves, covering up their pure and perfect, holy, light soul. And out of that, they said what they said. But you connect to their soul. So even though you had the argument and this and that, at the end of the story, you hug and kiss and you make up because you love them. And of course, nobody has ever heard in any religion that you may have grown up in, love your neighbor as yourself. Never heard that. And at least in Kabbalistic tradition and many of the religious traditions, that's the ultimate. That's not the beginning step. That's not kindergarten. That's like fourth, or I don't even know what to call it. That's like the 20th level of PhD. It's the culmination of every good act we could do. We can then possibly arrive at true love your neighbor as yourself. Because in truth, what it means, that we're sending light with all our heart and soul to 8 billion people on the planet 24/7 like God does. God doesn't care if a person doesn't believe. God doesn't care if a person is doing nasty things. God doesn't care if a person cursing God. The Creator is shining light 24/7 on every human being. Like we said, they may block it with all their spiritual mud. Like we said, close your eyes, you block the light, but that doesn't stop the light from shining. That's what we got to wake up and realize. So our job is ultimately to be humble. And I don't care, frankly, it may not say in written form, but I don't care whichever religion you come from and consider your religious icon, whatever, was also a humble person. And they channeled the essence, and please get this right, and ask your teacher, or ask a teacher of the Kabbalah Center if you don't quite get it. They, in essence, channeled for this world whatever you call that holy book. So whether it's the Christian Bible, the Jewish Bible, the Hindu Bible, the Muslim Bible, the Jainist Bible, whatever, Zoroastrian Bible, was channeled by a humble person. The unfortunate part is it got corrupted in its practice and its interpretation to what we see today, fighting among religions, fighting within religions. If religion was so great and wonderful, and if you stop and think about the word religion, what does it mean? Yeah, hard to think. I remember my first entrance into spirituality in 1977 when my mom died. And I just started to read a little bit about cause and effect. God is not a being, God doesn't reward and punish, things like that. And I started to think religion. And for some reason it caught me. What's the word? Take the word apart. Religion. To re-legion. Reunite. Reunite. So if religion is supposed to reunite people, certainly with the Creator, and I don't care what religion you grow up in, the Creator is shining blessing on 8 billion people, then how can they fight with each other? Within the religion, forget cross religions. Because they're not learning how to reconnect themselves with the light of the Creator. And it's not about the people. It's because that voice in our head that people haven't understood clearly enough to know how to fight it and overcome it. So they start believing. How many false beliefs about yourself do you still believe? Because you heard it growing up for 10, 15, 20 years. You're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid, you're stupid. Yeah, you went to college, you got 1,600 in the SAT, but part of you still thinks you're stupid. Because that's what you heard for years and years and years. So you're still believing falsehoods about you. So how much more when it comes to the pure light of the Creator that sits inside every human being on earth, and we still believe we're lack, limitation, we're not good enough, we're not this enough, whatever, because we're not humble enough. We think we know. So we're so smart, we know that we're stupid. We're so smart, right? We think that we're, inconsiderate, guilt, shame, all the bad stuff. Too judgmental, this and that. Yeah, we can act that way, but that's not the real us. The real us is pure being of light. Pure being of light, because that's all the Creator could create. So we want to understand from Moses. So here's a few other ways to look at it. What do the truly humble do? Focus on love and awe of the light. Like in amazement. You ever seen a kid in a candy shop or a toy store? Wow. How come we lose that? The awe of the Creator, the awe of nature. Karen used to say if a person having difficulty to sort of connect with the Creator, go out and just look at nature, just to be in awe of nature, to understand that all the details and how everything is exactly put together and works together and all of that, that's even a drop of the power of the Creator. We should have greater awe. And in Kabbalistic terms, many of you know, love doesn't mean, oh, I love the Creator. Love in Kabbalistic terms means unity, oneness. So we could say, yeah, Moses was the most humble man, which means he had the greatest love for the Creator because he was entirely one. That's why they say even by Moses, he was like half human and half divine, half angel. He was so humble. So, love and awe of the light, how to ask, desire, crave, being a better conduit of the light. We may channel light now, but let's say 60, 70%. So we still have more to go to get to our 100. Do greater acts of sharing, kindness, sharing the light, greater and more powerful. Trust that the light of the Creator only wants the best for us, even when the challenges come, but that's Kabbalah 1. I'm not going to give you all of that now. Certainty, a humble person has certainty everything happens for their good. Everything happens by cause and effect, so it has to be a way to fix my mistakes of the past and have more blessings moving forward. I, with a free will, have to make that transformation, but that's why it's there. That's why it's there. Clarity, that we do not know everything. Rav Berg, my teacher, used to say, what's ego? Ego is I think I know everything, the opposite of humility. What's humble? I don't know everything, ask for help. Ask for help. I don't know everything, and therefore ask. Ask whoever, but at least ask. Even if you think about simple terms, how many CEOs of big businesses, not, the little 1 or 2 person thing. If you ask somebody who's, in a okay, you get the idea. A big business, how many CEOs don't have people that they consult? You think every CEO thinks, oh, I know everything about the business, I know everything about the marketing, I know everything about the manufacturing, I know everything? Or they have people that they can call upon, right? But they just don't think of it that way. We're understanding it's a tiny drop of ego versus humility. The CEO says, no, I know everything, I make all the decisions, I don't need a marketing person, a person, sales executive. No, I could do it all myself. Well, you know how many people will be in that business ultimately? 1. It's not going to grow because they can't do everything. Nobody can. But we don't understand it in that way till now. So now imagine that. So imagine we have to try and figure out who's going to drive down the street a certain way, who's going to be walking up a block thinking to steal, all those different things. Can you and I figure that out? No, but if we channel the light and we're doing greater actions of sharing the light, so we're a greater conduit, more light flowing through us, it'll put us in the right place at the right time to have peace and harmony and avoid all the chaos, or at least a lot of it. Yes, okay, good. And ultimately the bottom line is letting the light work through us all the time. That's it. Because so like we did with this, there's only 2 ways. We've looked at it different ways, reactive, proactive, light and darkness, things like that. But as the Kabbalists say, there's either the action that's connecting us stronger to the light, or heaven forbid, the action disconnecting us from the light. So Moses, once he became, as we would call it, Moses, he was never disconnected from the light. Everything he did was simply as a conduit of the light. And that's why when he told us back then, challenging things to do, it was for our good. It was to help fix our, what we call tikkun, what people call karma, fix our mistakes, pay our spiritual debt. So if you look at it, these last 5 weeks, those of you, following the Bible as the Kabbalists do, the last 5 weeks, almost the same thing. It's the only place in all 5 books that you have essentially 5 different sections that are all saying the same thing. How to contribute to the building of the tabernacle. This is what we did, this is what we did, this is how we did it, this is another way we did it. 5 different sections about how Moses collected gold, silver, cloth, people's work, their talents and abilities to build a tabernacle, as it says literally, and we understand it spiritually, that the Creator could rest. Which Karen always pointed out is, where's the tabernacle? Here. I'm the tabernacle for the light of the Creator. You're the tabernacle for the light of the Creator. When we still hold on to the fear, the anger, jealousy, greed, and all of that, we are not building our temple. We're not building our tabernacle. The light can't dwell because we're blocked. So when you give up, let's call it, a little of your anger for compassion, you're building another piece of your temple, of your dwelling place for the light of the Creator. When you're giving up a little bit of your ego, as we're saying today, for humility, a little bit of your judgment for a little bit of seeing good in the person, a little bit of jealousy you give up for the sake of having greater gratitude and appreciation for your blessings. When you're willing to give up something, and yes, it does also come down to even giving your time and your money in place of holding it for yourself, because you want to help build not only yours, but a collective tabernacle so we can finish pain, suffering, and death in the world. So when we're willing to give up that which we are holding on to that's blocking the Creator from settling completely inside us, that's humility. And that's what we want to take today from the power of Moses. And how do you know, and we'll finish with this, how do you know? So, just before we finish, at least strive for. Nobody says, you know what? You got this lesson, you're going to walk out of here and you're now going to be just like Moses. No, but strive to be better. Make another action of transformational sharing and another and another. Just progress. Keep going forward. Keep going forward. The next step and the next step and the next step. So here's what I'll leave you with. How do you know if you're growing in humility? And this I heard from one of the classes of Michael Berg, the current leader of the center internationally. He was reading from one of the Kabbalistic works and he says, how do you know if you're growing in humility? Because a lot of the Kabbalists wrote about humility, because now if you're understanding it, it's ultimately the only thing we're here to do, is be humble like Moses, a pure channel of the light, and therefore have all the blessings, be eternally blissed out. So he says, how do you know you're growing in your humility? When you can see in yourself less anger, less jealousy, less ego, less resentment, less anger, then you know you're growing in humility. Because then you realize that you're accepting everything as a message from your soul, from the light of the Creator, and then you will apply, as we call it in the center, the proactive formula of transformation, and you'll turn the darkness to light, the chaos to order, hatred to love, jealousy to gratitude, and discord to peace, for you and for the world. God bless. So as you know, this is our time. Okay, a few things. This is our time. It's a free will offering. We want to, number one, I want to share from the point of view of the center, appreciation for all of you who do donate to the center, some of you regularly, some occasionally, whatever it is, but everything is used towards this end. And today, like I always say, our ultimate goal is spreading these books of the Zohar, whether it's in this form, the set, the sacred Zohar, whatever, but at least to have this. And I share with you again, we're almost at 450,000 since the last 4 months. All last year, we were only able to distribute 100,000. So we're almost 5 times the amount in just whatever, a quarter of the year, let's say. Today, because it's Moses and there are many people, students of the centers around the world, going out to hand out as gifts from the center, right? So you're welcome to take one of these as a gift from the students of the center, right? Because they donate, so it can be given away, because when there's enough books of the Zohar in the world, because they're just beacons of light, then the end of all pain, suffering, death will happen. So the more of you carrying it, the more of you giving it out. So if you already have one, please take one with a thought to find someone to give it to. Don't just take it, leave it on your bookcase and leave it there. You have one already. Get one that you're going to go out, keep in your car, keep in your purse, that you're going to hand out to somebody, have a conversation. I'm not telling you twist people's arms, but every now and then you have a conversation with somebody, you find out they're spiritually open, you say, look, as a student of the center, I want to give you a gift of this book of the Zohar. It's the holy book, basis of all religions, all spiritual teachings, just for peace, love, and protection. That's it, just to carry with you. Okay? So that's there. So we have our offering now. Those of you online, oh yeah, let me put that up here. I have to get better at that. For those of you here in the center, please just take whatever offering you would like to give. Hold it. We'll do our blessing, and then we'll do our meditation on the 72 name of the day. Okay? So just, okay, this is the one that goes in my pocket. So just hold your offering. Remember, money is a vessel. So the energy you put in it is the energy that will go out and share with other people. And it's the energy that will come back to you. Because cause and effect is simply what goes around comes around. So we first want to inject our gratitude, peace, and love for all of our blessings, even for our challenges, knowing they've come from our soul. We've learned the ways and means to transform the chaos to order and the challenges to blessings. And we want everyone on earth to have a spiritual awakening of the light that's already in their soul. Just activating the light in their soul so they'll feel more empowered of themselves, that they truly are beings of light, and our only purpose in this world is to act in greater ways every day, more and more like the light of the Creator, just shining unconditional love, kindness, and compassion, forgiveness, tolerance, and blessings on every person on earth. And so we inject that energy of love into this offering. Know that through the projects of the center, it's going to go out and finish all pain, suffering, and death. And together we say, Amen. So, if you're unfamiliar, what you see in front of you, or what you see now, you online, is one of the 72 names of God. If you're in the room, you look to your left, there's all 72. And yes, for those of you who are new, you say, well, no, those are 3 Hebrew letters or Aramaic letters. And I say, yes, they are. The issue is that they're the DNA of the soul, that each one of these things were not created by any human being on earth. As we say physically, nobody created proton, neutron, and electron. They came with the Big Bang. We just learned how to use them. So too, the Kabbalists teach the Hebrew letters are just portals, or you could call them nanoparticles of light of the Creator, so they shine the light of the Creator. In this combination, Ein, Nun, Vav is one of the 72. If you're here, it's in the second row from the bottom, second from the left. But this, actually, in this case, it is one of them that is actually a word, Anav, which is humble. So being that we discuss humble and it's connecting us to the soul of Moses, that we can be of greater humility. So obviously it's the perfect pick for today. Ein, Nun, Vav. So if you're not familiar, just let the shapes, because each shape creates a certain vibration, like an atomic configuration creates all the different atomic elements, carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, gold, silver, etc. So too, this combination will activate a higher level of humility inside us. Ein, Nun, Vav. So just let the shapes be engraved in your mind's eye. Ein, Nun, Vav. And then if I can ask you, just sit comfortably in your chair, feet flat on the floor, hands on your lap. Take a few deep breaths, breathing in the air, which is actually the light of the Creator, the breath of life, Breathe in, hold the breath for a moment. Let it flow, the light particularly, from head to toe. And then exhale through the mouth. Breathe in through the nose, hold the breath for a moment. Exhale through the mouth. Letting that light and the energy of relaxation, the awakening of the light that's inside every cell of your body, every aspect of your soul. Let it be awakened. That can actively bring revelations, inspiration, and empowerment, and motivation, and the strength to do that action of transformational sharing, the forgiveness when you don't feel like being forgiving, the kindness when you don't feel like being kind. So allowing yourself just simply to relax into the light. Feeling the vibrations of love that surrounds us, that is infinitely shining into this universe. And let's envision Ein Nun Vav just above the top of our head. Envisioning, feeling, or just knowing a beam of light from the endless world shining down through these 3 nanoparticles, these 3 facets of the light of the Creator. That you can feel that vibration of their unity as the power of humility. The strength to just be a pure conduit of the light of the Creator, manifesting our total purpose in this world of shining our light 24/7. And so slowly let the Ein Nun Vav enter through the top of your head. And feel, see, acknowledge that this light of humility, awakening a greater sense of the light, your true self, the flow of light that goes out of you, strengthening, increasing. Thoughts of how to share more, how to be more humble. And let the Ein Nun Vav travel from head to toe, awakening in every cell of your body, humility, unblocking whatever mud there may be in those cells that have held back the pure light inside you from flowing 100%. Take note of any thoughts you get inspiration. Also, be conscious of whatever your personal opponent might be telling you inside your head. Just shine light on it that shuts it down, that you can hear more clearly the voice in your head of your true soul, the awakening of pure love, unconditional love, in the light aspect of your heart. And the actions, words, thoughts and actions that you can and will be doing to manifest greater humility, shining, beaming more light into the world, to the hearts and souls of 8 billion people, and thereby revealing more blessings, a greater sense of peace, harmony, serenity in your life. Asking Moses to help you have humility, greater humility, to achieve your full aspect of humility as he did. And feeling how the light is channeling more intensively through you. And together let's beam a beacon of light out from our heart, from our soul, of this Ein, Nun, Vav power. Send it out to the hearts and souls of your family and friends. See that light awakening in them. Their Ein, Nun, Vav, humility. Love and awe for the Creator. Support and help from the Creator. The strength to be the pure channel of light that they've been created to be. And then extending that beam of Ein, Nun, Vav energy from them out to the heart and soul of all 8 billion people on the planet. That every human being on earth, every person has that awakening of how they haven't been acting with humility, love, kind, and passion, and how they can behave with greater love, kindness, and compassion. And let's together, in the power of this unity, envision the world coming together in peace and love, harmony, as we are meant to be, as we were created to be. The stronger our vision, empowered with this light, the faster we are making it manifest in our physical world. So remember whatever you've heard, seen, or felt that will boost you in increasing your acts of humility moving forward from this moment. And we'll take one more deep breath to anchor it in our heart, soul, and mind, and then slowly exhale and open your eyes. Okay, those of you here physically, thank you very much. Those of you online, It's great to have you. Next week I will not be here in person. I will be out of town, but there will still be Spiritual Sunday, so you can follow on the page. Have a great day, a great week, great evening for those of you way over there in Hong Kong, Cape Town, etc. Have a great week and God bless.